Good afternoon. This is Ken Long at Tortoise Capital. This is a daily series trade on 5-minute charts with EWZ Brazil, testing a slightly longer time frame than my normal. I've been busy during the day, and so I'm using the slower charts and wider stops. So this is EWZ had a minor gap up, 123 entry after a 25% move off the low. This is almost a hybrid frog entry. Gets out here out to Z2. The 10 period regression line rolls over, crosses the baby dragon. I exit as it crosses the dragon, stop and reverse. Gets the maximum favorable excursion back down to the Bollinger Band mean. 1, 2, 3 exit here. The market has rolled over. This is looking like an owl. I wait for the RL10 to come back and break out of the dragon once more. So short here, and that's breaking down below the opening. That's the blue line that pre-stock charts automatically draw. So that failure right there now says to me that we've got a potential test to close the gap, which is sort of exactly what happened. We get the collapse. This was where if that trade was going to fail, it would have failed. It didn't. I buy the resumption here with the target down here. 1, 2, 3 exit with the 10 entering the dragon, so that's on 2 scoops. Stop and reverse here. This is an owl. Exiting at the usual spot here as the RL10 leaves the dragon. Short for one last shot, and then capturing this at the double bottom and don't stick around any longer. So that's a quick look at EWZ. Let's stop and see what the daily health check looks like for tomorrow. All right, so this is the market health check for September 19th, 2016. Vertical blue lines are 10, 20, 30 days. A look back here, 60. These are support levels that used to be resistance levels and which have held before. If this one collapses, the next target is 209 and then 203.5. I'm seeing the market trying to put in support here at the bottom of the 30-period RAF regression channel at the Z3 line. Oops, excuse me. So it's holding steady here. So I see this as a crucial low here at 212. If it can hold here, then a retest of that Z2, that swing high up in here. Failure here gets it to 209, otherwise to 203.5 in a hurry. The 10 is sloping down, but the last 4 days are up. The 30 has rolled over. You can see the slope of the 30-period regression line got to its highest high here at this point. And then as it failed to maintain that upward motion and got into that 40-day sideways chop, that slope line began to decay until it flattened out. On this day, that slope went negative, and now it's decayed down here to minus 0.125. This is not an abnormally steep downward slope in this 30. So this would be still considered a normal retracement. And if it holds support here, I see that it's holding support at what used to be resistance here. So this would be a natural place for it to find a little dip and resume. So it's really got to get back through the Bollinger Band mean and really, to me, past the Z2 line up in here. So cautiously optimistic here, but also recognizing the tense geopolitical situation and the presidential election shenanigans. So this is one that I'm playing with not much attention to the swing trades, a lot more in the intraday kinds of trades like you just saw in EWZ. I can wait till November on this one and then try to play the intraday volatility on these kinds of days, which work pretty well for the frog and the hybrid frog and the owls intraday. So let's take a look at the daily summary next. So now we're tracking the daily report for September 19th. Bullish normal in the middle of the annual and 10-day trading channels. The risk Z is still in the negative, so this is saying be prepared to exploit the intraday collapses Since we're past one standard deviation on the downside, this is not a place to be taking new swing longs. If we see it begin to roll up like this and see some improvement in volatility, then that would be a time for swing trade. So right now I'm exploiting the short side. So that means I'm not taking these signals here in the overreaction and the channeling. I am looking for them, however, if they collapse, to get the intraday move. Should this thing turn around and start to slope upward, then that's where I'm going to start picking up these swing trades automatically. A handful of auto framers to choose from here and 551Ws. You can see the increase in volatility here. Lots of channeling and overreactions are setting up, so we can take our pick. Right now, with the short attention span or short time frame that I have, it's not attention span, but what I'm attending to is the short-term time frame. I really look at things that are really extreme on the max pain range compression and test out well with the auto framer, and then I'm prepared to follow the collapsing price or the sharp rebounds, the one-day rebounds. So Intel and Apple were big losers today, so if they were to collapse, that would get my attention. But really, I'm looking for Boeing, IBM. If they show some signs of strength, then that actually becomes part of the auto framer's first day move up, so that would be on my short list. Just about everything is on an auto framer among the ETFs, so I'd be looking at these near the top. XIV, Latin America, Brazil, Treasuries, real estate, and those would be my one-day plays. Lots on the auto framer to choose from with all the key prices. I'll let you read that. And then among the regression line fractal framework, the ones that are in the top shelf in the green, these are the most deep value plays, the ones that are the most numbers of their own ATR below their RL270. So McDonald's, Coke, Home Depot. And then on the red, on the bottom shelf, these are the ones that are the furthest advanced beyond their RL270. Interestingly, those two we just saw were the big losers today, Apple and Intel. That would be of some concern to me if I had long positions in them, because these were relative strength leaders, and yet they were the big losers today on a day that the market was fractionally up. So is that people cashing in some profits? Don't know, but that's I would be very sensitive to that if I had positions in these. So let's just take a look at McDonald's and Coke as an example of potential RLFFs and see what that deep value looks like. Okay, so here's McDonald's on a daily, and you can see the river sloping down, the RL70 sloping down. On this move, this is the argument for the RLFF when you had an extreme number of ATRs away from the current price measured by the RL10, that's the smooth price. And when you get this 1, 2, 3 entry and you get the RLXD here, you're playing for a return in this direction. Now, failure at the Z2 gives you an owl move coming this way. So the trend is still downward, and after this big reversal, these waves are still pointing down, and you're getting a low, actually a low, a lower low, a lower low, a lower low. So this, any collapse in here, I'm looking on the short side. But if I can get a higher high above this Bollinger Band mean, then this starts getting me to think that this is a move back towards the RL270. Initial target up here at the Z2, because it's got to clear this hump. So I'm looking for 119 short term as an intraday trade. And there's some big one-day moves in here, as you see, especially on the short side. And so any collapse here, it was closing poorly. Any collapse below 115, you need to be short that, because we're going to get an extension down to Z3 then. So that's McDonald's. So let's take a look at Coke. Coke, kind of the same thing. We've had these lows were violated, and now this collapse was a good signal in here. Now, if it collapses below 42, I think you got to be short. But if you get we get a 1, 2, 3 entry here, at around 42.5-ish. Then I think you can play for the return to the Bollinger Band mean, about 43.5. If it has to break above really 43.60 and then above the hump of this dragon at 44 to have any reasonable chance of getting up here. So this looks to me just like a turning point, like this 1, 2, 3 here. And so you might get $1's worth of move in here. So if you can get an entry at 42.5, 43.5 at the Bollinger Band mean is a reasonable shorter term move. But again, I'm looking for a collapse below 42 to get short. So just a couple quick ideas from today's series, the daily reports, and then looking at that RLFF. So thanks for your kind attention. We'll see you in the chat room.